Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef. We are in Nashville, JW Marriott Restaurant Transformation Festival, Restaurant 365. Every single year, they continue to impress me, every single show. We started all the way back in Los Angeles at the Wiltern. We went up to San Francisco. We were in Austin last year. And now in Nashville, the event is better than it's ever been. Over 500 restaurant professionals. And when I say professionals, I mean these restaurateurs make me humbled, to say the least, because they're doing so many incredible things. But I think one of the coolest things for me is not only how successful they are, but the fact that they're willing to learn and that they're actually willing to ask other people questions. Yeah. I have Brooke Hluza.
Yeah.
And Brooke Hluza is here to answer a very important question. What is more important for a company's growth, sales or marketing?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'm a little bit biased because I am VP of Sales at R365, but actually minored in marketing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you know what?
You majored in sales?
Basically. No, I actually always knew I wanted to do sales. It was something I basically did from the time I was really little and worked in restaurants like a lot of other people. But when it comes to sales and marketing, honestly, I think you have to be a very united front. And sales is marketing, marketing is sales. And if you're not conveying the same message, if you're not evangelizing your product out there, and by the way, everybody is selling something, right?
Yes.
Everybody's in sales. Every one of the restaurateurs that we talk to, they recognize that, they're not selling a burger. If you're McDonald's, you're selling happiness.
Yes.
If you're we have Luby's here in the Houston area, and I told them they're selling nostalgia because if you were in Houston, like that was what you went to when you were a kid. Like your grandma took you to Luby's and got the Jell-O and a Luann platter. Everybody knows that in that area. So yeah, I think they're both equally important. And R365, we have a really good synergy with our marketing team, and we're marketing every day, right? I'm wearing R365 clothes everywhere I go. Everybody's always asking me, what is R365? And it's all part of the vision and the brand and the dream.
Well, your family is particularly committed to Restaurant 365.
Yes, it's a family
Can you share a little bit of the inside of what's happening in the Hluza family?
Yes. So all of our eggs are in the R365 basket because my husband also works at R365. And he likes to remind me he's been here longer than I have. I've been here actually 5 years today, I think is my work anniversary.
Look at that.
Yes.
Congratulations. Live on the show.
Yeah,
how about that?
Thank you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's been a fun ride. But yeah, he manages our sales engineers. So he has a team of people that are out there showing the software and very up to speed with all of the bells and whistles. And then I'm leading the charge of people out there just hustling in the field, walking into restaurants every day, trying to make their wildest accounting dreams come true.
Their financial dreams.
Their financial dreams,
Try to make their We have
Yes.
a lot of incredible restaurant people, entrepreneurs that listen to this show, and
Yeah.
one of the hardest things for entrepreneurs is to face that balance sheet, to face that profit and loss statement.
Yes.
What sold you? I mean, obviously your husband was working for 2 years before you came, but you had to make the commitment, the jump to this company. What sold you? What was
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I knew someone here whenever he was in the job market, and I was like, oh, you need to work here. And so even though he was here before I was, he's kind of here because of me. So I like to remind him of that. But
referral fee.
Yes, referral fee. But no, I mean, I started my career in the payroll industry. I worked at Paycom for quite a while and would network with R365 and just worked with a lot of restaurants, and restaurants have always just been so interesting to me because they have such a unique job. It's not all cut and dry. They're out there having to be very involved in the business, but they also have to be very analytical and make decisions around their business and grow, and also know a lot about, how they're actually making a recipe and their food calls. There's so many dynamics of it, and so I think R365 just has kind of hit that void in the market that wasn't there. And at the end of the day, the margins are very thin, and we're helping people be more profitable. And really, you don't have a lot of options out there, especially with rising food costs, with labor being what it is, and so you have to get creative.
Yeah.
So our message out there is basically, hey, if you're a restaurant and you're looking to grow and you're not meeting with R365, then like, what are you doing? Because you got to do something. I mean, the market is not great. I mean, there's talk of a recession, and there's a lot of uncertainties. So, I mean, really, you don't have a choice but to use technology and embrace technology to be more profitable, to make sure you have the visibility into your COGS and everything to make those business decisions that are going to help you scale. So R365, I think, hands down, it's evident that we're out there doing that with so many groups we've been able to work with, that we've been able to kind of see really go from, a 2 or 3 location operator to an emerging brand that, ends up just blowing it out of the water all across the nation. And it's really cool to see and to be a part of that with these groups, because there's a lot of really, really good ideas out there, and the people that are proactive and make sure that they have that solid foundation from day one of, hey, I'm going to embrace technology, I'm going to lay that foundation. They're the ones that scale the fastest.
So we have a lot of incredible people that are in our community that listen to the show, that support the show, that might be interested in a sales career.
Yeah.
When you're looking to hire, and I know you guys are hiring, what are the qualities, what are the traits? One of the things that we know is curious people that are actually leveling up,
Absolutely.
knowing that the information isn't going to come. You've got to actually put yourself in a position where you can learn things.
Yeah.
What other things do you look for?
Yeah, so several things. I mean, people with a restaurant background, it's perfect at R365. I mean, they understand the hustle, they understand the pain firsthand. So when they are sitting down with an operator, they can empathize with what they're dealing with day in, day out. I think everybody, I mean, even my kids, I'm like, you have to work in a restaurant, like, have to. My 16-year-old just got his first job at a restaurant, and it's been cool for him to see and understand. And I'm like asking him all these questions, like, well, how do you guys do inventory over there? And he's like, yeah, I have to do this. And it's a cool experience. But yeah, we look for tenacity, we look for grit, we look for people that aren't afraid of hard work.
Yep.
And honestly, that is people in the restaurant industry. They know what it's like to work 50, 60-hour weeks. Now, we're not asking our people necessarily to do that, but they are kind of having that work ethic that gets them to the next level. And yeah, we are hiring everywhere. We are growing, really hiring in every market across the United States. Really trying to tap into the local restaurant scene, because I think every city has a different vibe, a different community, and we have reps out there in the market. I don't know if anybody follows things on LinkedIn. We have cocktails and conversations and popping up in different cities, and those have been really good ways to just connect the restaurant community and get people out there that are networking, that are wanting to hear, best practices, which is what I love about these events too, because man, I missed one and I had so much FOMO. I've been to every single one of them, since LA, since we did them even prior to COVID, and it just gets me so energized, because these people are out there really, really solving some problems that everybody's facing, and they're getting creative. They're sharing a lot of good just ideas. I mean, obviously everybody's talking about AI, but it's hiring people. Like, how do you get people in the door? How do you, attack the labor shortage that's been out there and kind of been cyclical over the last couple of years. So it's just fun to work with the community and solve problems together. And yeah, we're always looking for people that are ready to get out there in the sales world, and yeah, that kind of can't afford to fail too. I mean, I think that's something I tap into in an interview with people is, hey, what's driving you? Because if I throw a number out there and people can go out there and chase it, and they have something they're working towards, then it's that much easier for me to get them motivated, to work as hard as they possibly can.
What's the one quality that they have to have, must have?
I mean, I like to just say grit.
Yes.
Because
what does grit mean?
Grit means that you are relentless and you can't afford to fail, and that you will get out there at all cost and hustle.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell you a story because
Please
it
tell
just
me.
happened today.
Yeah?
I don't know the name of the sales rep, but I'm sure you can find out. But
I'm sure.
PK, who was on the show, PK
Yeah.
is part of
I know PK.
Balance Grill.
Yeah.
He told me that his rep for a year and a half would not stop calling him.
Yeah.
Like literally the rep was the reason. Like he believed
Yeah.
in the software, he believed in the service, he believed in the product.
Yep.
But he was like, I was so impressed
Oh, yeah.
with the tenacity that he never gave up,
Yeah.
that he believed so much in what he was selling that
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to give it a chance.
I'm telling you, I tell reps
Like
this.
that's amazing.
It's huge.
It's an amazing story. He said
Yeah.
a year and a half.
I tell them every time that passion is contagious, and we are literally changing the restaurant industry with what we're able to do.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is we can sit down with anyone and we can meet them where they are. Like
Yeah.
is labor and scheduling the biggest issue? Great, let's talk about that. Is payroll, keeping up at night? Awesome, let's talk about that. Is it accounting? That's our bread and butter. We can start with that, but then we just build on from there. And it's really honestly such a blessing that we get to have these conversations at a high level because, I don't know. I feel like it's like you should be walking into these places and say, listen, like we got to sit down. Every single person, every restaurant that I walked by to get here is using our 365. Why aren't you? And I think you have to have that kind of provocative attitude to spark interest. And then since we can actually back it up, then it makes those conversations, really fun. But yeah, it takes some clever pursuing and, professionally persistent to get in the door with some of these people. Cause restaurant, there's a million things all the time. There's fires everywhere, sometimes literal fires that we're up against. And so we understand time is valuable. So I also try to teach my people that, listen, like this industry are straight shooters. Like tell them bottom line, here's what we can do for you. Try to understand like what is the biggest area of their business they're looking to improve. And chances are we probably have some solution for them. And if not, we have a million partners and different people we can plug in that could help solve whatever they're trying to space.
Do you have a story of one of your favorite closes?
Oh,
you don't
man.
need to tell. You don't need to tell me the logo, but
Yeah.
just let us know of
Yeah.
how you closed.
Yeah. There's been some fun ones as far as just getting in the door.
Like you put it on a board, a
yeah.
vision board, and you're like,
basically, yeah. So there used to be a strategy that we would use where I would get some like trophies made, and there was a trophy that I got made that was like hardest CFO to set a meeting with.
Okay.
And the dude was like, all right, like let us in the door. And like I go to his office and sit down for the meeting, and he has the trophy like in his shelf.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
And so it was like, he's like, yeah, like I was a hard CFO to get a meeting with, and then you got it. There's been all kinds of stories like that. You have to get really creative, I think, to compete for the million other people that are calling.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love to just like get out there and break bread and like get in there and try to understand what they're struggling with. And honestly, I'm not all about fitting square pegs in round holes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people, it's like, great, you have, pretty clean operations. Like call me if something breaks later on. But, it definitely makes sense to at least, I call it like a free internal audit for us to just see like, hey, we sit down and I talk to 250 restaurants a year. And so there's some sort of insight that we can probably share. And, it just takes a few meetings to uncover that. But there's all kinds of stories in my history of stuff that we've done to get in the door and just deals that have been really exciting. I don't know. It seems like emotional buyers, and I love the radical candor that comes with a lot of these conversations because I just operate that way. And, I think it's fun to have those conversations and like, let's just cut to the chase and be honest with each other. And, it makes those sales really fun.
Of all the restaurant groups that you've worked with, who sells the best as a brand?
I think it boils down to your people and the people that really stand out? Do you have order takers, or do you have people that are like actually engaged and they, you go to certain places and you're like, man, that was an awesome experience. And I think I put a lot of value there, and even just my own dining experiences when we go out places. And my husband, who works here, is notorious for always finding the GM. Every single time we're at a restaurant and we have a great experience from a service perspective, he always finds the GM. He's like, I just want to let you know
That's
that this
awesome.
person just is hustling it.
That's really cool.
Hustling, and I think it's cool because
Well, yeah, it's cool because most people won't do that.
They
And,
won't.
that's a big deal that your
Right.
husband does that.
Well,
Shout out to
yeah.
him for doing that.
Yeah, and because he's worked in the industry too, and I think that's also what makes our 365 unique, is that we do have a lot of people that come from the industry, and so they have a different appreciation.
Yeah.
And so when we're out there as consumers dining, we are looking for the little stuff, and it's funny because you can't unsee stuff. I'm sure you guys
Yes.
feel like this, like you're sitting, like we were even at the airport yesterday, and I was like, Nick, they totally screwed up our order. I can hear like the line, I can hear
Yeah.
them, and he's like, well, don't say anything. I was like, but I feel like I'm actually going to help them solve the problem right now because they have this system where,
Yes.
and he's like, all right, whatever.
Go
And,
ahead.
but like, I don't know. I think that you have to, I don't know, have that, the people, I don't even know if it's a certain brand. There's just anybody that is putting a lot of emphasis on their people and investing in their leaders. I think the store manager is huge. And I, even as a VP of sales, I'm really, really focused on our frontline managers because that'll really tell you how effective you're being. And when you're widely distributed like a restaurant is, and you have multiple locations, how do you make sure that the message that you are trying to drive and the culture you're trying to drive is actually getting out there to the masses? And it is in, the training, it is in being intentional, with your culture. I'm going around right now with our sales teams, and I think this is kind of an interesting thing that could even be translated to the restaurant industry, but I'm doing these little mini boot camps with all of our teams in the field, and we're going around and we're getting out there, we're doing some sort of fun team event, and we're doing these things called life maps, where everybody's opening up about, hey, here's my story, here's what I've overcome in my life. And then all of a sudden you look around the room, and sometimes it brings like tears and laughter, but you look around the room and you're like, man, like we've been through something together. And then you have that camaraderie, and then people want to build on that. And I think too, I often ask, especially since we acquired Expand Share, I often ask people, how's training going in your restaurant? And they're usually not like, yeah, it's so great. Everybody's just picking up what I'm putting down. They're like, yeah, man, like, I don't know if this one person left tomorrow, because normally you just take your best server, your best person, and you're like, oh, cool, you're now training manager.
Correct.
I remember my first restaurant job at Johnny Rockets,
There you go.
and I was like the training manager, like supervisor, and I wasn't qualified to do that necessarily, but I just knew how to teach people. And but that isn't always scalable. You have to have tools. So anyway, now I'm just going off on a tangent, but I could talk about all this stuff all day long because I'm very passionate about it. But yeah.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish I did ask you?
I don't know. No, not necessarily. I think that I don't know. I often think about the challenges that we face in this industry, and I think if the people that you're working with from a restaurant perspective, like I truly think about what the restaurant CFO is facing every day. I truly think about what the store manager is facing, and truly try to teach people to have those conversations that are adding value. Because I know, if somebody's investing time in us to even have a conversation, like we better be bringing some value to the table every step of the way. And those connections, I think, are so important. They come about all the time. It's hard for me to not go to a city these days and visit with, customers, I built the customer growth team at R365, and we have so many awesome customers that we get to engage with at these events and other trade shows. But yeah, no, I think it's just a privilege to get to work in this industry and with these people, because I think that we got some quality people in this industry that I really empathize with, and that, I've sold to other industries before, but this one by far is the most fun and most rewarding. So.
Well, I love the fact that, we've been doing content with R365 for the last 3 years, and the fact that Tony, John, Morgan are here, boots on the ground,
absolutely
working day and night, as if this was day one startup. And it's amazing. It's inspiring to see. You can see all the leaders here. We're grateful for this opportunity. If anybody's watching this, please go to Restaurant 365 and go to one of these local events, Restaurant Transformation Tour. They happen all over the country. They're phenomenal. I promise you, you will not regret getting outside of your restaurant. It has been awesome to hear from you, see what you guys are building. If people want to connect with you on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Yeah. LinkedIn. You can find me there. Instagram.
Perfect.
I do all the social medias.
All the social medias.
I'm all in on all of it.
All in on all of it.
Yeah.
All in on storytelling.
All in on storytelling. Absolutely.
That works for us. So if you guys want to connect with me, it's at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. We appreciate you for listening to the show. Please share it with a friend. If you know somebody that's looking for a new sales career, if somebody's awesome at sales, connect with Brooke.
Yes, and our website, go to careers, and we are hiring all across.
There we go.
The nation, sales, products, marketing, all of the things. So, come join the team.
There it is. We appreciate you guys. As always, stay curious, get involved, and don't be afraid to ask for help. We'll catch you next week.